Republicans in the U.S. Senate are terrified of the fact that Donald Trump is going to go to jail, and of course that would seriously impact Republicans in down-ballot races, so they are now warning the judge, Judge Juan Merchan, against giving Donald Trump a jail sentence, even though, of course, Donald Trump was convicted of all 34 felony counts, and each one comes with a minimum sentence, I believe, or possibly a maximum, I guess. I think it's maximum of like 4 years in jail. So I don't think Trump's going to be sentenced to 136 years in jail, but it's also a possibility. You know, less than a 1% chance, but it could still happen. But Republicans in the Senate are now warning the judge, you better not throw our guy in jail, because that would just be, you know, terrible for democracy. The people that for the last several years have told us that Democrats are soft on crime are now begging a judge to not jail a man convicted of 34 felonies. Here's what they said. First, you got Republican Senator John Cornyn, who said it would be a further abuse of power to incarcerate Trump or even sentence him to home confinement. He should get no penalty for 34 felonies. But he went on to say, I'm very troubled by what I see in the way the courts have been weaponized. It used to be there were some institutions in America, namely the FBI, the Department of Justice, and the courts, which were regarded as out of bounds for overt partisan politics. But unfortunately, that's changed, and not for the better. Yeah, the FBI has never been politicized, right? It's not like they've gone out there over the last few decades spying on protesters, spying on civil rights activists, hell, spying on musicians and artists. Like, the FBI has always been a partisan, horrible organization, you idiot. Republican Senator Ted Budd of North Carolina said it would be foolish for the judge to sentence Trump to jail or house arrest. So again, like, no punishment at all. He added, when you see the conviction and the rules that he instructed the jury with, it's completely unfair. It's unconstitutional, and I would put nothing past him at this point. A tough sentence would only strengthen the resolve of the Americans to support President Trump. You sure about that, Senator Budd? Sure about that, Budd? Because literally every poll released since the conviction shows the exact opposite. So crack a newspaper open every now and then, Budd. You'll figure something out. Republican Senator Thom Tillis said, quote, with this process, anything is possible. Unless they can pretty quickly find examples of where similar cases have resulted in prison time, it just adds more fuel to the fire that it was District Attorney Alvin Bragg's politically motivated decision to ask for jail time. So unless you can show that other people went to jail, you can't send him to jail. So, okay, that's also, by the way, not how the law works. Somebody will always be the first person to go to jail for something, right? That's just the way it is. It's like if you go back in time, you're like, you can't put this guy in jail for murder. Nobody's ever gone to jail for murder. Yeah, there's a first for everything, idiot. And then you have the Republicans in the Senate who still believe the Supreme Court will bail them out. Rand Paul said, I think it ultimately all will be reversed by the Supreme Court. I think a lot of these cases work up and the Supreme Court finally says enough is enough. We're not a banana republic. Ted Cruz said, the ultimate outcome of any Donald Trump conviction on this indictment would be a reversal in all likelihood at the U.S. Supreme Court. Pretty fantasy, right? Supreme Court's going to save him. Don't worry about it. Yeah, well, you know what? Here's a fun thing about that. Even if they do, it's going to be more than a year before an appeal even makes it to the Supreme Court, because first, Donald Trump has to exhaust all of his appellate options in the state of New York, as this is a state crime, not a federal crime. And in order for the U.S. Supreme Court to even be able to take the case up, his lawyers would have to file an appeal to the Supreme Court outlining a specific, real, constitutional issue with the trial in New York in order for the court to even take it up. So go ahead and believe your little fantasy that the Supreme Court's going to save him. Yes, I know if it made it to them, they would. But the chances of it even making it to them at this point, getting slimmer by the day.